Warning: Mexico has decided to sell all its dollar reserves. This strategic move is getting attention all over the world. Meanwhile, China has told its public banks to get ready for a huge wave of yuan purchases and dollar sales. They want to stop the yuan from losing value. It could be the yuan's biggest loss against the dollar since 1994. The Mexican government has made a bold move. They're selling all their dollar reserves. This is despite warnings from the United States not to do so. This is different from the Mexican peso. It has been gaining value compared to the dollar. This is because the Bank of Mexico is not making new pesos. This is different from the US Federal Reserve, which often prints more money, which makes its currency worth less. Experts say the Isthmus Corridor, a huge Mexican project, will change the global economy. They say it will make Mexico a global economic power. Mexico has started selling its US dollar reserves. This follows China's lead. China was the first country to get rid of its US Treasury bonds because the dollar was losing value. In an initial sale, Mexico got rid of $13 billion in US assets. This had a big impact on the financial markets. They saw a 25% drop in value. However, Mexico has come out on top. They sold their dollars when they were worth the most. This caused the dollar's value to drop because the market was flooded with US currency. This has made investors nervous. They are taking their money out of US companies and putting it into Mexican banks. The United States is pressuring Mexico to stop selling its dollars. But many are asking why Mexico should listen to the United States, especially when the dollar is constantly losing value because of all the money being printed without anything to back it up. The United States uses petrodollars to buy oil. But when it's in debt, it just prints more money. This makes its currency worth even less. Mexico, on the other hand, understands that holding large dollar reserves would be a bad idea. They know that dollars lose value over time. Countries that don't have a lot of gold often buy dollars. They keep their reserves in that currency. When Donald Trump was president, he offered to buy Mexico's gold mines. These mines are what back the value of the Mexican peso. However, Mexico refused. They understand that selling those mines would mean losing a very important resource. It would also make them rely on the United States to refine their gold. This could make the peso worth less. It could also cause investors to take their money out of Mexico. They would be afraid of the peso losing its value. The interoceanic corridor of the Isthmus project is seen as a game changer. It's expected to make Mexico a global economic power. But the Panama Canal is having problems because of the climate. And Singapore is very far away. Mexico, right in the heart of the Americas, is positioning itself as the new center of global trade. This Mexican project is strong. It can handle climate and economic problems. This makes it very important for global trade. Countries that make and buy things will have to work with Mexico to move their goods. Meanwhile, Mexico is continuing to sell its dollar reserves. Many agree that keeping dollars in central bank reserves is a mistake. This is especially true for countries with currencies stronger than the dollar. Mexican investors have made it clear to their American counterparts that holding reserves in dollars is unsustainable. Paper money loses value, but gold holds its value. The price of gold recently hit $2,500 per ounce. This shows that Mexico's strategy of turning its dollars into gold bars is a good one. Plus, Mexico doesn't trust Trump's offer to buy its mines. Gold is too important. It backs the Mexican currency and is the engine of the country's economy. The interoceanic corridor of the Isthmus is going to transform Mexico into a world power. It will be a central point for moving goods like food and technology. Many believe that Mexico is at its peak. They say it needs to take advantage of this opportunity. It needs to avoid depending on the United States and the dollar. Mexico needs to keep its gold reserves, keep the peso strong, and keep selling its dollars. And it needs to do all this even though the United States doesn't like it. Meanwhile, the US dollar keeps losing value. It's important to remember that a country's economic stability depends on people trusting its currency and its natural resources. Mexico has decided to back its economy with safer, more tangible assets like gold. This protects the value of the peso. It also makes Mexico more economically independent in an uncertain world. Mexico's decision to sell dollars and resist outside pressure is a strategic move. Mexico is strengthening its position in the global economy. It's moving away from the influence the dollar has had on the global economy for decades. This process also shows how important economic diversification is. This won't just help Mexico's economy grow, it will make Mexico a key player in international trade. Mexico will be able to influence trade between the Americas, Europe, and Asia. In short, Mexico is at a critical point in its economic history. Other countries are facing economic uncertainty, but Mexico seems to be preparing for a stronger, more independent future. The decisions it's making could ensure its prosperity for decades to come. This is a time of change, of redefinition, of strengthening an economy. If Mexico stays on this path, it could become one of the strongest and most influential economies of the 21st century. As many of you know, BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are a group of emerging economies with a lot of potential for growth. In recent years, they've become more and more influential. So how could this affect the US dollar? Well, as the BRICS get stronger, they might look for alternatives to the dollar as the world's reserve currency. This could make people want dollars less, which would make the dollar worth less. A change like this would have a domino effect on the global economy. Countries that rely heavily on the dollar could face challenges, but other countries could benefit from a more diverse financial landscape. In this video, we'll take a deeper look at the current role of the US dollar as the reserve currency, the strategies BRICS are using to challenge this, the possible economic and geopolitical consequences. Get ready for a fascinating discussion. China's role in BRICS and its impact on the global economy is becoming increasingly significant. As BRICS nations collaborate more closely, China's influence continues to grow, challenging the dominance of traditional economic powers. This shift could lead to a more multipolar world, with BRICS nations playing a crucial role in shaping the future of global trade and finance. Imagine a world where economic decisions are no longer dictated by a single entity, but are the result of collaborations between multiple influential nations. This could mean more balanced and inclusive economic policies that take into account the needs and aspirations of a broader range of countries. China's Belt and Road Initiative, which seeks to connect Asia with Africa and Europe through land and maritime networks, is a prime example of how China is leveraging its economic might to foster deeper ties with BRICS nations. This initiative not only boosts trade, but also opens new avenues for investment and development, creating a win-win situation for all involved. As BRICS nations continue to strengthen their economic and political alliances, the global economy could see a significant transformation. The rise of a more multipolar world could lead to increased competition, innovation, and ultimately, a more resilient global economy. Stay tuned as we explore how this shift is unfolding and what it means for the future of global trade and finance.